Dearest viewer, it means a lot to me that you are here listening to me in this, the first video of my campaign for the 4th District of Kansas, U.S. House of Representatives. I wanted to share a message that will hopefully be useful, or at least entertaining for everyone watching. My name is Paul Catanese, and I will show you a glimpse of my views and beliefs by telling you about my reactions to a set of 4 paintings, which hopefully at least a few folks are familiar with, and if not, you'll be introduced to today. I'll cover how I was introduced to them in due course, but the paintings are The 4 Freedoms by Norman Rockwell. Each picture will be displayed individually soon, but quickly. Norman Rockwell is said to have been inspired to paint this series of paintings after hearing the 1941 State of the Union address presented by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, where these 4 freedoms were declared. Although FDR is an American president, and the speech was being delivered to the Congress of the United States, the 4 freedoms are intended for people everywhere in the world. And so, any body which might aim to infringe upon these 4 freedoms not only affronts American values, but those which all of humanity deem to hold sacred. Though FDR's speech was given in January of 1941, the paintings of the 4 freedoms were not published until February and March of 1943. They were published in the Saturday Evening Post, a magazine where Rockwell worked as an illustrator for 47 years. His other art is amazing, and I encourage you to check it out. Without further ado, these are the 4 freedoms, and they will be presented in the order in which they were introduced to the world in FDR's speech, and also in the order of their publishing dates, chronologically. How FDR said them was, first is freedom of speech and expression, everywhere in the world. Second is freedom of every person to worship God in his own way, everywhere in the world. The third is freedom from want, which, translated into world terms, means economic understanding which will secure to every nation a healthy peacetime life for its inhabitants, everywhere in the world. The fourth is freedom from fear, which, translated into world terms, means a worldwide reduction in armaments to such a point and in such a thorough fashion that no nation will be in a position to commit an act of physical aggression against any neighbor, anywhere in the world. I'll withhold my thoughts on the overall speech, as it was delivered during World War II, about 11 months before the U.S. officially entered the war, but while watching European and African nations succumb to the recently formed and rapidly growing Axis powers. Rockwell's paintings were published beginning with Freedom of Speech, February 20th, 1943, at which time there were some signs that the war might be winnable, but surely the prolonged involvement of the U.S. in the war would be on the daily thoughts of its citizens. Fittingly, freedom of speech was how I was introduced to this series of paintings. It is on the cover of the book Run by Senator Marion Walsh. If you plan to run for public office or are in charge of a campaign, or would just like to know how to do either, I wholeheartedly and emphatically suggest you get a copy. This picture being on the front of the book reminded me of my purpose. It gave me the courage to try. It gave me the inspiration to stand up and take action. If you've ever been in a town hall meeting where folks are arguing an issue you feel passionately about, this painting portrays the feeling exactly of what you want to do. What you wish you would do, what you wish you did do, what you dream you will do. Nothing is stopping you from being this person except your own belittling of what you believe you can accomplish. He is not screaming. He possibly has a statement prepared there in his jacket pocket, but is speaking from the heart, calmly and determinedly, poised and proud. He came to say something and is saying it, and it's a glorious moment to behold. He doesn't appear to be erudite or wealthy, but with how folks gaze at him, he seems to be saying something valuable and agreeable with the sentiments of his peers. They are glad he said something. He seems to be bringing something up to folks in power in a meeting set up for that purpose. He's bringing it up at the right time, in the right place, in a proper way, and to the right people. The way to make change in government in the U.S. is by filling out paperwork. We live in a bureaucratic society. More power to people getting out and protesting. But it would do well for them to then go home and try to find where the problem exists in the law, and then take steps to correct it. Again, usually these steps involve filling out paperwork. Not as glamorous as one might think, but it's the way to get stuff done around here. Freedom of speech has few bounds, and if used in the right place with the right audience and the right message, the truth can be found so that a real difference can be made. And ain't that what it's all about? Finding something real, getting to the heart of something, and finding the truth. This brings us to our next picture. Freedom of religion, or again, as FDR put it, the freedom of every person to worship God in their own way. Many people seek the truth through religion and through trying to find God. Even the lack of religion applies here, as some people's way of worshiping God is to not do so, and to believe that God does not exist. And that is that person's God-given right. The writing at the top of this painting says, "Each according to the dictates of his own conscience." These words are not necessarily in FDR's speech anywhere, but it's a similar sentiment to the words of the speech, although personally I enjoy Norman Rockwell's words better, as it does not imply that every person worships God. Looking at the individuals in this painting, they each are of a different demographic, and there are various levels of devotion being depicted. One holds a book of devotion, while another holds a rosary. Most have their hands folded, while one man rubs his chin. There are married and unmarried folks among them, and there may even be some who are members of religious orders, like nuns or priests. Someone's religion is often so deeply connected with their identity that their freedom to free expression is closely tied to their freedom to practice their religion. Many people will argue their right to freedom from religion, and they can have that all they want if they stay inside of their own home. Going into public places, people are bound to interact with other people, and it's everyone's right to practice their religion how they see fit. And so, a person might encounter someone practicing religion if they interact with the outside world, physically or virtually. A state institution is not to hold a religious view in the United States. Separation of church and state is the law of the land. What separation of church and state means, though, is that a state institution may not promote or denigrate any particular religion. Think of them as a neutral territory, where individuals can practice their own religion or express their views towards religion, but the state institution cannot express any religious leanings. Someone in public can proselytize the Bible. They can also proselytize the Quran, the Vedas, or the Eddas. They can even stand there and read a 5th grade science book, though this is not strictly a religious text. As long as a person is not infringing on the rights of another, everyone has to share the public equally. In come the unwritten laws of respect, or the social contracts we all have with each other. If literally every person expressed their religion by standing on the sidewalk and preaching, the din of everybody would be deafening. And what would be somewhat comical is that everyone would be so involved with themselves preaching is that nobody would be left to listen. We all must coexist peacefully. Some folks are very vocal about it, and that's fine, especially in times when rights are being suppressed. Just be courteous and realize that as much as everyone has the right to preach, everyone else also has that same right, and they also have the right not to care about what the preacher has to say. And if it really bothers you that people are out there preaching, just wake up earlier than them and take their spot on the sidewalk. Or just smile and keep the peace and get on with what you need to do. Now those were the 2 freedom of paintings. Next we'll discuss the pair of freedom from paintings. Due to YouTube's restrictions on videos longer than 15 minutes for unverified channels, this video is broken into 2 segments. Please watch my second video where I cover freedom from want and freedom from fear. Paid for by Paul Vincent Catanese for Congress.